What up? Let's get it. Hey, Nana. Let's get started. Welcome everyone who is on. Don't sweat the technique. Chosen song of the day. Welcome everybody to No Running in the Halls, episode 8, with your host, me, Chavez. Oh man, we got a great show today, man. I really am super excited about today. We have, hey, what's up? Tommy, dude, what's up, man? A cup of Birkin. Chavito, hey, what's up, man? Listen, I hope you guys stay for the whole show. It's going to be a kick-ass show. Today we have, you know what, man? How do I even introduce this guy? I don't even know where to start. But first things first, today's show is brought to you by Grim Artisan Ales. This one right here is a beautiful sour. I think I showed it last time. I forget, but it is dope. I love it. Hi, Nana. Love you. Love you. Oh, it's Moose. What's up, Moose? What's going on? A little cup of Birkin. How did I not know that? God, get it together, Chavez. Get it together. Oh, so let's break the ice a little bit before we get anything off our chests. Let's talk about the Dalai Lama asking a kid to suck his tongue. What the hell is that all about? Seriously, not. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to say about that. Just goes to show you, huh? There's a couple of weirdos. Let me shut off this AC. Hold on one second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. I'm coming. All right, so who we got here? We got a nice group on. So I oh shoot, no good. Whole bunch of technical difficulties today. How about that? Yeah, right. So we got this guy asking kids to suck his tongue. That's weird. There was also an apology involved, I hear, which I don't know if that really makes up for anything. That's a weird line, like a weird line. So I was happy to say that on my other segment, Talking Shit, I had the debut of my new co-host, Tommy Dukes. Did a great job, man. Thanks for coming on. That was a beautiful show about really, really, really hard-hitting news. It was really hard-hitting. Let's see what's going on in the world. I took a trip for the first time on a ferry through New York. It was out of Rockaway, and I came down and went over to Wall Street, ate at South Street Seaport, had a grand old time. If anyone likes a good date day, man, I do recommend that being a very, very playful area. There's a lot to do, and it really is a lot of fun. So we're winding down on a nice spring break for all you teachers. I hope most of you out there had a great time on your days off. I certainly did. It went by way too quick, but I'm always a busy guy, so everything goes by quick. I hope that's not the story of my life, though. That's for sure. But I did have we've done that. It's such a good idea. It is a really good date day. Let me tell you, get on the ferry. I wish my man Birdman was on. He would tell you. The Birdman will tell you right off the bat that the ferry ride is really nice. You can bring whatever you want on there, drinks and food. You can have picnics over where we were. We were actually supposed to go up to Roosevelt Island. We're supposed to do the transfer. It's like $27 for the entire for a day pass. You get like 10 tickets. And between the two of us, meaning me and my lady, we were able to go wherever we really wanted. But it ended up that we just stayed over by the South Street Seaport over by Wall Street, which is a really nice place, believe it or not. I don't know if people have gone there recently. It's changed quite a bit. But anyway, so What time do we have right now? Let me just make sure I'm doing. So we got 9:05. I'm bringing in my only guest today, a little earlier than I normally do. And this guy, man, I was searching all day for the way I can introduce this guy. And I got to tell you, so many things just came. Hey, Birdman is here. How about that? Good to see you, Birdman. I couldn't come up with. I mean, somebody help me here, man. If anybody knows this guy, I have so much that I feel like. Hey, oh no, they gave them off again. What is going on with these? I just bought these like 2 days ago. They're always powering off. I don't know. Maybe I didn't charge them good enough. Hey, how about that? They're gonna turn off every now and again. I'm not gonna hear myself. What's up, Jody? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. So this is what I'm going to say about my guest who's about to come on. He's going to call in at 9:15. Here's what I want to say about him. Honest. Informative. I want to say he is the guiding light of any building full of teachers. He is the kindest family man and just overall good person. You know, it's not easy to find good people in this world. There's cynical bastards out there. So cynical that they almost come off as like the good guy, but they're not, you know. This is not him. And let me tell you, throughout my career, throughout my almost 10 years, I have not dedicated my life to representing this man the way he should. And because I get to work with this guy and I get to converse with him 5 days a week, and I get to sponge the information that he gives me, it means more to me than anything. And I have been woke, as most people would say. I've been woke. Not recently, but within the last year or two. And I have to say a lot of it is because of him. You know, he tells us things and he tells people things. I mean, the countless amount of people that are in this guy's room, just not just asking for advice, getting real information that is so vital to every day. And if anyone out there who's on, if you can chime in and really let's talk about this guy before he gets on, because he is so amazing. And I don't know if this is appropriate to say in a heterosexual way, but I look forward to seeing him all the time. I'm like, yo, is Coletti? Is he here? Where's that guy? He checks off every box if you had a list. Thank you, Jody. I'm sure he's watching because you can't define this guy. He's like a legend. And the amount of time he's been in this career and the amount that he has done in the stories that he tells, it's just, I feel bad if you don't have someone at your job that does this, because I've done things where he's been like, and then he's celebrating other things, and oh, there they go again. I'm gonna take these off because I can hear myself. I just would rather hear it through the mic, so I'm gonna take them off. They're sweating my ears up anyway. But yeah, I have to tell you, he's a snowflake, man. He's one of a kind. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind. He loves to joke around. He likes to turn shitty situations into silver lining situations. He really is honestly, he's the heart and soul of my building, I think. And that's not to discredit JP. If you are listening, someone should get his ass on here too, man. JP is awesome too. Because I have A. Colette on tonight, Big Daddy, as I like to call him. I want to really focus on the praise that I want to. And here he is, not a moment too soon. Yeah, this is the Department of Education Resource and Human Resources. How may I help you?
Listen, I had to call in early because I hardly deserve the accolades you're bestowing upon me.
Oh, I don't.
It's flattering and I appreciate it. I had to call in. I said, I am not deserving of what you are saying.
You know what? You know what?
Listen, I love you, but listen, I don't deserve it, brother.
I disagree highly, but if it's embarrassing to hear such great things come out of another person's mouth, I will put it to a screeching halt, and I will make our way into our very fun and interactive conversation today. But I do want to say this.
Because I'm not sure. I think my family all ran to the toilet to throw up with the way you were praising.
Yo, I hope they're throwing up last year's food, bro. Let me tell you, Colette, you know how I feel about you, and I will speak this way till the day someone burns me up and throws me in the Huntington Beach waves. But I will tell you, bro, even though you don't believe it, I know people on this planet, including people in our building, really respect and really, really feel very similar to the way I do about you, and not because of anything, superficial. You really are, honestly, the driving force for some people, and I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, without getting all buttery and soft and emotional. You really have done so much for me personally that I could ever ask. Hey, what's up, Hallie? I really wanted to say that to you. And on all kidding aside, I know you're probably a little embarrassed by all my accolades, but you really truly are a wonderful man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, man.
I'm not deserving of it. I appreciate it.
That's good. Modesty will get you everywhere.
Well, it depends. I mean, maybe not in the DOE though.
Yeah, just don't bring any fish to the lunchroom, and you'll be fine.
Well, no, that's a no-no.
Big no-no. We already went over this, everybody.
No.
We already went over this, everyone. All right.
We've been there. So when you asked me to come on and talk about this topic, I found myself reflecting on your prior guests, right? Like, is it better to burn out and fade away, or first year teaching? And now here we are talking about certification. I couldn't help but think, like, those other two topics tie in well to the certification process, right? Like, I mean, you were talking about being, in a classroom as a student teacher, right? And how the kids respected you only because the other teacher was in the room, right?
Right.
Like those are things that, like, on the certification exams, they never really come up, right? Like, it's all textbook stuff.
It is.
It's what you studied. And then I found myself thinking about my 25 years in the DOE, right? And, like, I look back over the 25 years and I'm like, those certification exams did not prepare me in any way, shape, or form for the red tape, the politics, the reality of being in a classroom with 30 kids or 10 kids or even one kid, like what those kids bring. No test could ever really assess if you're capable of dealing with it.
Yeah, and that is honestly one of the biggest fights I have in my own brain because Anthony, I recently, this, I've been recently taking a bunch of certification exams myself to better my situation with my particular discipline. And let me tell you, man, you are absolutely correct. And I don't understand why arbitrary questions on an arbitrary test for a grade level that I think that they're not in sync with, they think is better than what you just mentioned. I don't understand. That's where the problem, I think, really lies with all this. Like, what are we getting out of these certifications that they think are so damn amazing?
Revenue.
It's money. It's money.
I believe. Listen.
But why can't
I look back on my own career, right, Jay? I look back on my own career, right? I started in 1999, right?
Woo!
And I started teaching, and I passed the LAST, the ATSW, and I started teaching. And here I am. I got 5 years, right, before I have to finalize my certification.
Right.
year 6. Everything for the first 5 years became a distant memory. I had 5 years. I tucked it away. And year 6, I get a letter. I'm going to be terminated in June if I don't finalize my certification. I said, what do you mean? I had the LAST and the ATSW, and then I forgot I had to take the CST, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm year 6. I filed for the extension. They tie year 6 in. Now I'm in year 7. And year 7, I'm taking this CST. And meanwhile, I got my tenure, everything else, 7 years I'm doing this. I go and I take the CST, and they're asking me all stuff that I read 7 years ago in a college classroom about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or
How are you supposed to remember this?
That's my point, right? So now part of it is my own fault because I blew it off. I tucked it away and forgot about it. Now I'm taking it. I'm missing passing by a point, 2 points, whatever it is. And I'm like, man, that's it. Like, I'm done. Like, they're going to fire me. So I switched gears. I take a certification exam in my master's degree, which was in literacy, right?
Yeah.
And I pass it on the first try.
Oh, yeah.
Flying colors. Blow it out of the park, right? So now I come home and I'm talking to my then fiance, now wife, right? Like, about the difference. And I go, the first one, which was ELA based, had zero to do with anything that was happening in a middle school classroom. It was all about the history and origins of the English language, which are not taught or used in a classroom in middle school.
Now, Anthony, can I ask you this? Do you remember? I know it's so long ago, bro, and even for me, somebody who took tests probably 5+ years ago, do you remember any ridiculous questions that they asked you, or one that you almost hit flag for? You were like, I gotta flag this question because I don't even know if this makes any sense. Anything you particular?
So you know what happened, Jay? Here's the interesting part, right? So I told you I couldn't pass that CST. You know what I mean? And I had to switch licenses, and I passed the other license on the first try. But looking back, here's not so much a red flag, but I was at a point where I was taking the test every couple of weeks trying to pass it, right? And as I'm taking this test every couple of weeks, right, like before I knew it, the questions were repeating. And now I'm saying to myself, did I answer the question wrong last time? Do I choose a different answer? How do you approach this? And I didn't really find any materials out there that would prepare you to decide, was this correct or incorrect? Like, they don't give you a breakdown on your results of, hey, on this question you chose the wrong answer, or that question you chose the right answer, right? Like, there's nothing out there. So I switched gears, and the difference here, Jay, is that when I switched gears and got the other license, right?
Yeah.
That had everything to do with what we taught in a middle school.
Right.
And so it was easier to pass, which leads into the conversation you and I have had recently about, these certification exams. Are they necessary? My feeling is no. You look at any other profession, let's just take like the electric union or the elevator union or the masons union. When you go into those, you're an apprentice, right?
Right.
That's your student teaching. You can even take the teaching fellows, which many people knock. But you know what? I think there's some merit to it, because when you go into the teaching fellows program, you start in the summer, as far as I'm aware, and what I know from the people who've gone through it, you start in the summer. And the summer is your, teaching, sort of your student teaching. And then that September, you get your own classroom and you're off and running.
Yeah.
Like, bring that back to the apprentice in the masons, elevators, and the electric union. You're an apprentice, right?
Yeah.
You go to school at night, you work during the day doing the job you want to do. And after a few years, you become, a certified mason or a certified electrician, and you got it. And to me, that's the best way of learning, which is on the job, in the middle of it all. That's the way to learn. A test with an ideological, perfect world scenario doesn't assess what actually happens in a classroom.
Agreed. Let me ask you. let me ask. I'm sorry, no, Anthony. Continue your thought. I wanted to ask you something pertaining to what you said earlier, but you were saying keep saying what you were saying.
So to me, we're going back to the teaching fellows, right? Like that part where they student teaching is in the summer. In September, you get your own classroom. You're learning as you go, and that in itself, right, will do far more for you than an exam is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that on-the-job, real-life learning, there's no replacing it. There's no discrediting that, you know?
Yeah. And I bet in any job, right? Whether you're taking classes for 4 or 5 years, I think you learn more. Most human beings, I could be wrong, but most human beings would learn better on the job than sitting there taking all these unassociated exams or seminars. Because to be honest with you, Claudia, I agree. I don't know if I remember every single thing I've ever taken in college, versus also the formatting of the tests that I took to enable me to be certified for this career. You know, I agree with you.
Right. You know, like the LAST and the ATSW, I don't even know if they still offer them. I mean, I'm going back, I'm such a dinosaur, but you know, you go back to the LAST and the ATSW, those were real world practical situations they gave you. You know, like if Jimmy's in a classroom and Jimmy decides to throw the textbook, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like that there is a real world situation that could likely happen in a classroom anywhere in the world, right? So there's some practicality to it.
Yeah.
But when you get into these content tests where they ask you, you know, and I get it, they're assessing the knowledge you have of the subject to see if you can actually teach it. But you know what? I think that on-the-job learning is the best assessment, you know?
Yeah. Coletti, earlier you mentioned something about revenue. You said money, right? Let me ask you this, and this is a question that's been on my mind for a long time, is, so we're paying for a test, all right?
Yeah.
No matter what, we're going to pay for a test, right?
Right.
There's no way around it. I mean, even the seminars cost money, right? The 6 or 7, the autism seminar, all of those seminars, they all cost money now. They used to be free. 4 of them used to be free. But here's the question. Here's the $1 million question. If we're going to pay for them, now we're not talking about LAST and ATSW, because those tests actually they weren't so bad. You know, very, very passable. They had credibility to them. They had something to do with what you were trying to accomplish in your discipline. But why not make the content specialty test geared to whatever subject area you're teaching? If you're going to pay for it, why not make it content friendly? Why don't you just change the test instead of giving us a person who, let's say they're taking a math contents. By the way, folks, CST is a content specialty test where you take it for the discipline or the subject matter you're taking. Now, if you're a special ed teacher, you're taking multi-subject, which means all core 4 subjects, in case you didn't know. Furthermore, why don't they just make the test for what you're teaching? Hey, listen, you're going to get a license to teach 5 through 9. Let's give you the content that's 5 through 9 in the likeness of a classroom that only may hold up to 12 kids for students with disabilities, whether they are emotional, physical, or mental, or behavioral, or emotional, whatever. But with that said, make it. We're going to pay for the test, right? Make it so that it's content friendly. Make it so that, okay, if that's I take tests and I think I'm teaching like a calculus course for AP. For like an AP class. And that's what my problem is. I'm like, why don't they just make it content friendly?
Right.
You know,
I agree with you. You know, like put something in theory of like, you know, if you're going to teach the theory of relativity, how are you doing it in the classroom? What are you using? How do you plan on conveying that to the kids? That's something that's useful, you know? So it's assessing your knowledge, but it's also assessing how you're going to implement it, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And I to this day, I whenever I've gone into these tests, I think to myself, what do they get out of this? What is there a satisfaction of saying like, hey, fuck you, man, you can't pass this test. I know you can't. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right, but like this, right, Jay? Like, look, You take the test. You fail the test, right? They know they got you. I don't even know what the test costs these days, but whatever it costs, they got you.
About 60.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then they say, oh, you could resubmit it. We'll manually look it over. And you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And you're taking it over again, you know?
So
either way, it's coming back to money. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And I'm not saying it's you know, I'm not, you know, going down this conspiracy trail that it's all about the money. You know,
No.
They don't care. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a revenue maker for some people. You know?
Yeah, it is. And like I said, I don't mind. Look, when push comes to shove, I don't mind paying for a test. You want me to pay $60? That was to answer your question. They're about $60 each. L the Mech says it's as simple as that, man. They get money, and I agree with you, Mech. I get it. It's money. That's not my problem. I don't think that's anybody's problem. Shit, I would love to. I'm sure we would all love them to be free. But realistically, man, just give us the content. You want us to pass this test. You want that. We're in such need of teachers. We have a teacher shortage. How many fucking hoops are we jumping through to just pass a certification test that's going to allow us to be in the classroom for the time that we need to? I mean, I don't think that's fair. I mean, like I said, if you're going to pay, look, I'm not saying the revenue part is, listen, make your money. But why are you look, you took a test mad years ago, and it was hard back then. I mean, if it's not changing, and people are still complaining about how this process is honestly not just unfair, completely not generated to the discipline that you're teaching, but it's extremely hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
but then now another argument of why they're not attracting teachers anymore, right?
No.
You go to school, you know, you think about it. The money you spend to get your degree and your diploma versus what you make back, it takes you almost your entire career to almost 25 years to earn back what you spent to get the degrees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On top of it, you know, you got to pass all these tests. You got to have a master's degree.
Yeah.
You got to have beyond a master's degree.
Yeah.
And it's the only profession that I know of that costs you money.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the worst. It's the worst.
Well, yeah, and that's part of why they're not attracting teachers anymore, right?
Yeah, it sucks.
The requirements. Listen, as a dad, as a parent, I get it. You know, people are entrusting us with their children, which is the most precious thing of all. You know, but until I'm going to go on a limb and say this, and I don't know how many people are listening that aren't parents, but until you're a parent, you'll never understand that part of it. For me, when I started, you know, I was 21 years old. I didn't have a care in the world.
Yeah.
You know, if you told me, parents are entrusting you with their kids, I was like, man, you know. But now as a dad and a parent, I'm like, well, my kid's in a classroom, and what would I want that teacher doing with my children? You know, so your approach changes.
Yeah.
You know, as that happens. But at the bottom line, right? So yeah, you want someone who you know meets the qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
But are the qualifications that were set in the 19 whatever still relevant to the world we live in today?
I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is, and I think that's why this conversation, at least on the small scale that we're on, needs to happen, because I'm thinking that this definitely has to change. It has to change, because if you really are in a shortage and you really have good teachers out there that are not able to get past this whole level of hoops, Birdman, we know it's all about the money, but we're talking about pay for the test, but make it so that the content is viable to what you're doing. It's not viable. It doesn't help the teachers. Hands-on learning, being in the classroom. Cletty, I remember a month ago we were talking about how we should do the student teaching thing more, or have it as a you mentioned like what was it, like 2 years in the classroom, not in the classroom, on a college campus studying, and then doing like a whole bunch of like student teaching for what would you
like go to college, right? You go to school.
Yeah.
Take all your majors. Whatever you major in, take all those classes, you hammer them out. Whatever it is, 36 credits or 60 credits. I don't even know what it is anymore. Whatever it is, you hammer them out. And then at that point, when you're ready to get into the education aspect of it, you should be required at that point to go into a classroom full time, jump right in the deep end, get your feet wet, and at night go to school. You know, just like we do for our master's degree, right?
Yeah.
You work during the day, and at night you go for your master's degree.
Yeah.
This should be the same program, right?
I agree.
Jump in the deep end.
Yeah.
I hammered out all my major requirements for whatever I'm majoring in. So I have that quote unquote content knowledge, and then get right in the classroom. And once you're in the classroom, at night, maybe 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, just like the other unions I mentioned.
Yeah.
Go to school at night, and you sit around with your colleagues who are in the same boat, and you're discussing, hey, this is what worked, this isn't what worked, what do I do in this situation, how would you have handled it? And now you're getting more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And you know, listen, I'm sure the universities will still charge you for that aspect of it, so it's still generating money in some regard. But at the end of the day, I think you're putting out a better product.
I agree.
Just saying, hey, you can't pass this test, so you're not qualified to be in the classroom. You know? I mean, to me, but what do I know?
No, beautifully said, man. And this just goes back to the beginning where I was giving you all these accolades. Now you know why.
Yeah. No,
So listen.
Listen,
I got this crazy question that was texted to me. Here's this one. Check this out, Colette. We got this one coming up. What is the most bizarre certification requirement you've ever heard of? This person says, I'm picturing something like must be able to recite the periodic table backwards while hopping on one foot.
You know, I don't know. To be fair, you know, like I feel like I've been so far removed.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't even know what kinds of questions or even what like I went through in the test I took, if they're even relevant anymore. But, you know, I know from conversations with you, you know, in your situation and what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like it still seems to be the same way. And, you know, look, you're a guy, you've been in the classroom for, 10 years now, 11 years?
This will be my 9th complete year.
All right, there you go. And so, you know, that right there, the fact that you did 9 years, you have 9 years of real world experience under your belt. That should trump everything. Clearly, you know the content because your observations are coming back satisfactory.
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, it's clear you know your content. So what does a test matter at that point? You know?
Yeah.
You did 9 years. You got 9 years of experience in
agree.
the classroom, in the real world. You have, you know, 9 years of satisfactory observations. So it shows you know the content.
Yeah.
So what difference, you passing a test or not, what difference is that going to make in your teaching and teaching styles? Nothing. It's not going to change anything, you know?
You're
as
right.
far as I'm concerned, you know?
It's such a comforting pillow, those words, because I feel the same way. I don't know. I'm always confused about the process. You know, they always say trust the process, but I'm always confused about how that entirely doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? To have somebody given a certain amount of years to get their certifications all together, right? And then when it's not, you've already been in the classroom for X amount of years, at the very least 5, right? And now it's like, okay, well, you didn't get your shit together because we've given you an unbelievably hard test to pass. And since you haven't done it in over whatever, let's say they took it 4 or 5.
That's my point, Jay, right?
Yeah.
Like, how long has it been since you've been in a college classroom talking about theory?
2013.
Everything you're learning in a college classroom is theoretical.
Yeah.
So what does that have to, how does that apply to the real world you're in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like what you, and that brings us back to my exact point. Like what you're doing now trumps everything.
Yeah.
You know, 9 years of satisfactory observations, which show clearly you know the content. Yeah. And 9 years of real world experience, that trumps some theoretical question on a test.
Colette, would you do it all over again?
I would.
You would.
And here's why I would. As a teacher, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean the whole process of starting the minute you graduated your bachelor degree.
Yeah, but I would do it differently.
Okay.
I think for me, it goes back to me being misinformed.
Mm.
And if I had informed myself more, if I took more responsibility instead of being a delinquent kid at 18 and deciding what I want to do for my life, if I took more responsibility and informed myself, I would have done it differently. Instead of going to a private college, I would have went to a CUNY college, a city university, a quarter of the price, right?
Yeah.
And that goes back to talking about earning your money back. What's your return on your investment? So instead of going to a private college and investing, $100,000, I go to a CUNY college.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to reach my return on investment a lot faster.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, would I do it again? Sure. Why? Because at this point in my life, as you aptly put, as a family man, the time I get with my kids at home in my personal life, and the things that I'm able to do with them trump anything.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Because it's such a small window you have with them that, it affords you that ability to do it.
All right.
So would I do it again? Yes, but I would take the time and inform myself. Look, I have a son, he's 14, and I find myself having conversations with him at 14 now about, college and return on investments and the expenses and getting the biggest bang for your buck. And I tell him all the time, I wouldn't go to a private college. Listen, if you're getting a full ride or something else of that nature, that's a different story. But for the average Joe who's got to go in and pay for college, what's your return on investment?
Yeah.
How much money are you laying out?
Is there any real return on investment, whether or not you go to a private or a CUNY? It's so.
Listen, you go to a private college for a bachelor's degree, and I'll go back to when I was in college, in the 90s when some of our colleagues weren't even, diapers at that point. But
babies.
I go back to when I go back to it, like, you come out with an undergraduate degree, maybe, at that time in the 90s, you could have been $60,000 in the hole, $50,000 in the hole, right?
True.
That doesn't seem like a lot of money, but starting salary when I started was $29,000.
Yikes.
It was half of my investment, right? So I started at 29. I came home with $600 bi-weekly. Was my take home. I could have worked at Stop and Shop and made the same money.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my point. Like, if I went to a CUNY college, I would have got a return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I knew I was going to stay in the system as long as I did, maybe my 30 and above, I wouldn't went back and did my administration degree. Maybe I would have, instead of doing that, I would have took my 30 and above, in P credits or whatever have you. You know what I mean? Where it didn't cost me an arm and a leg.
Mm-hmm.
So again, goes back to me not taking the responsibility and educating myself on return on investment and what's the best way to do it. But to answer your question, I would definitely do it again.
Wow. I admire that. I admire that response because it's definitely a hard pill to swallow for me if I were to have to do it all over again. I'm not sure if my answer would be the same, but your answer is honest. It's an honest answer and it's a beautiful answer because of the reasons you put behind it. I got another.
Also, Jay, like even for you, right? Right now, you're just in a spot where you're saying, I don't know if I do it again. Because, the system's got you jaded a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, right? And that goes back to, is it better to burn out or fade away? Or, your first year stories. I remember my first year in the building, I had a holdover group of ninth graders, because then we had 7th, 8th, and 9th in the building, in the school.
I remember that.
I had a group of ninth grade holdovers they were held back in ninth grade for 2 consecutive years. And I didn't know what to do with these kids. So I go in there and they say, okay, you're in this room with these guys 4 periods a day.
Yeah.
The 5th period they had lunch, right? So for 3 periods they weren't with me. I was teaching them everything under the sun that wasn't even what I went to college for. They didn't know what to do with them, and I'm teaching them, right? So it comes back to baptism by fire, right? So to speak. And, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is learning on the job is the best thing, better than a test, right? So, I wouldn't change it, and I don't think you would change it. Right now, I know you feel differently, but I don't think you would, because you're good at what you do. The kids sure as hell love you. I don't think there's a kid in the building that doesn't know who Chavez is. You know what I mean? So, I just personally, as far as I'm concerned, I think right now, you're just in an awkward spot, a bad spot for yourself, and you might feel differently. But when this comes to pass, you'll learn, like, this changes your perspective on the job, the requirements, and basically you start to understand why, you hear in media about teaching shortages. Well, there's no shortage of reasons why there is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So, it's something they're going to have to figure out because,
I definitely think it's a deterrent for all new teachers coming in when they find themselves taking a certification test over and over again because it's so difficult.
I'll tell you this, right? Your guest you had on your opening episode, correct?
Johnny Utah, yeah, right?
There you go, right? So I remember Johnny's first day.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it, and I remember doing a coverage in the gym and him coming to me with the pension paperwork and the TDA paperwork. And he looked at that in the gym. I'll never forget it. And he looked at me and he says, "You mean I'm going to work till I'm 63 and a half?
Yeah.
And when I leave..."
I love this story. And
when I leave, I'm only going to get like 50, 60,000 for the rest of my life? I said, well, considering if top pay is what it currently is, more or less, you'll leave like somewhere between 60 and 80, depends. And right then and there, he looked at me, and I remember looking at him, and I said,
he's out.
He's done.
He's out. He's out. He's out.
And he left. And you know what? To his credit, he was smart enough to figure out the return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah, he caught it. I mean, he's a money guy. He's a money guy because outside of the biz, he does he's very big and smart with money. That's for sure. That much I can paint a beautiful picture for Johnny Utah with is that the money concerns are very much in his top
100%,
drawer.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Let me ask you this last final hard-hitting question because we got to get into some fun stuff here. But I got this hard-hitting question that just came across my desk, and it goes something like this: Can you explain? No, that's not it. Hold on. All right, here we go. Oh, no, that's not it. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. Okay, how would you respond to critics who claim that teacher certifications are a form of gatekeeping that prevents talented individuals from entering the profession? Should I read that again?
I understood the question.
Okay. It was a lengthy question.
And how to respond to that? So my response would be is that's a very real possibility.
Yeah.
If you're not a test taker, or like me, you put the test off and then you're trying to do it in the 11th hour, you could definitely let a few of the good ones escape,
Yeah.
And that goes back to my argument that it's not a real assessment.
It's not.
Of if you're really prepared for the real world or not.
It's not.
It's
not.
And that's why I think it should be an on-the-job learning experience. Teach by day, go to school at night, even when you're getting that undergraduate degree.
There's so many.
Go back to first year stories or burnout or fade away. Imagine these individuals who spend whatever they're spending on this degree to work a year, 6 months, 3 months, 3 years. Even come close to what that degree cost you, only to discover that's not what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
What a letdown. And then you feel like you're stuck. Like, I spent all this money.
Yeah.
Now I can't do anything else.
Can't do anything. I mean, why would you want to? The time and effort and money that you put in, then that's just scraping the bottom of scraping the top of the barrel. There is so much investment that goes into it. There's a crazy amount of investment.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, put aside the financial aspect of it, just even the time alone,
Yeah.
You sacrificed, let's just argue, what does the average undergraduate degree take? 4 years, 5 years? You sacrificed 4 or 5 years of your life to now discover this isn't what I want to do.
Oh,
you're going to go back and sacrifice another 4 or 5 years.
Mm-mm. It's terrible.
You know, but if you're in the classroom in the real world and you're learning on the job, you'll know within the first 6 months if this is something you want to do or not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the career path of one who chooses education really has they're really in for it. You know what I mean? We work longer as far as a career wise, not daily, because we do get out at a very reasonable time. I mean, earlier than most careers. We get a ton of days.
To be fair on that aspect too, Jay, though, even though we get out early, the day's not done. You're going home, you're prepping, you're marking, you're doing
right. You're right.
Look at the debacle with the third quarter grade. Third quarter ended, and here we are on spring break.
Yeah.
We expected to do our report cards during our spring break, which is our vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The answer is no, because our principal was generous enough to give us time when we return. But what if you didn't have a principal who was willing to work with you and give you that time? Or hypothetically speaking, what about the people who are dedicated employees who did give up their time just to get it done so that it's not one more thing to do when they return?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing. So, yeah, to your point, yes, we get out early, but our day isn't done. You know?
No, you're right. And I would have followed up with that by saying that even though the clock says 2:35 most days of the week for us, we go home, and you know what, man? For guys like you, and I'm sure hundreds and thousands of teachers all over the New York City, and that includes all 5 boroughs, Nassau County, and upstate New York. It's not like you go home and do nothing. You know what I mean? It really, like, if you're a garbage man, you pick up garbage, you put it in a truck, you send it out, you're home, and that's it. Police officer, the minute they take off that belt, game over. You know, firefighters, the same thing. Unless they're hurt or injured or something happened on the job, they go home to their families and they don't think about their job until the next time they clock in. It's different for us. I agree with it is very much different for us.
Or go back to the fact that, you know, we're salaried employees, right? So we have a set salary.
Yeah.
Many people can't survive on that salary alone.
Yeah.
And in order for us to make quote unquote overtime, we have to work per session jobs.
Yeah.
Right? So even though you're done at 2:35, you're starting your second job until 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night.
It's truly not enough.
Where if you were in the elevators union, the escalator union, the electrical union, a policeman, a fireman, a mailman, you earn your overtime. It's in your contract, right? So it's not like, oh, I got to stop this job and go to another job. I can continue working, you know? And here, you know, I got to stop this. Potentially, how many of our colleagues get in their cars, drive a half hour out to Long Island somewhere else or another borough and start a second job?
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the education field.
Oh.
I know one of our colleagues who goes to an Amazon warehouse fulfillment center and stuffs boxes.
Yeah, I know a fellow colleague who goes and sells ceviche on the weekends. That's crazy. I mean, that guy, he's a hustler. That guy's a hustler. When I see him, I'm gonna tell him how I feel about him.
I agree. He's a hard worker.
Oh man, dude.
Buck, right?
Hey, listen, man.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So even though we're out early, we're on to a second job in some capacity.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy because, you know, there's always this, like, you know, even when I was a kid, before I even stepped into the game, it was always like teachers are underpaid. You know, as a single, not single guy, I am spoken for, but I don't have kids. I don't have family. I don't have a mortgage to pay. I don't have all that. You know, the money for me is nice. It's okay. I like it. I'm at top dollar where I should be, but it really is not. It's honestly like when push comes to shove, I am fully satisfied knowing that I have a second job and that I have something lined up, you know, to help to support my income. Because honestly, I don't know if I could maintain the lifestyle that I love so much just through a teacher's.
You showed me that sneaker collection. You're not maintaining that on a teacher's salary.
Dude, it's tough. It's tough even with the second job, my guy.
Yeah.
Tommy Duke says, "Why teach if it's not paying enough? Why teach?" That's a good question. Tommy Dukes, He's my co-host for every Tuesday. He asked that hard-hitting question: why teach if it doesn't pay enough? Coletti, I know you have the perfect answer for this. Why are you teaching? What is it? You mentioned a lot earlier. You did, specifically the family time you get. You know, all that wonderful stuff. But let's ask this in a small sentence. As the job is concerned, let's put the family aside, the outside out of the building. When you walk into that building, what's your favorite part of the day? What's the part you look forward to?
My colleagues. I look forward to the camaraderie. I look forward to the banter. I love the fact that, I get 1 million visitors through my room every single day.
It's insane how much traffic you get, bro.
And on a cornier note, and we could say, this guy's full of crap or whatever you want to say. On a cornier note, listen, you went into it because some idealistic way you thought you were going to change the world. Are you going to change the world? Not a chance. That goes right out the window the minute you step in a classroom. You're not changing the world.
Yeah.
But what you are changing is maybe a kid's thought pattern, kid's perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe you're giving the kid a different angle to something that maybe they're having a problem with. And I'm not talking about academically. It could even be personal. Maybe they have a problem in their life. As you know, you're good with the kids that have some personal issues going on and no shortage of advice for them. So it's those little moments that could potentially be far and few between, but it's those moments. And I'll give you a prime example, okay?
Tell us.
If I can. And I'll indulge you. I know we're almost out of time.
We got about 9 minutes. Got about 8 minutes now, but please take all the time that you need, bro. Take all 8 minutes if you need.
I'll give you a true story. All right, I'm not gonna name the kid's name. All right.
Okay.
But I had a kid. Geez, man, I'm going back to the early, maybe mid-2000s.
All right.
And then one of our phys ed colleagues and myself were voluntarily, we weren't even getting paid for it, voluntarily doing softball with kids after school on the softball field down the road from the school, right?
Yeah.
It was school sanctioned, but we couldn't be paid for it. There was just no money.
All right.
2021, I get a message from that kid who told me early 2000s to mid 2000s, and I have the messages saved. I'll show you on Monday so you know I'm not BS. He said to me, those moments on that softball field impacted his life, especially when he went through some hard times in high school, to the point where now as a father of his own kids, he wanted to write to me to thank me for what I did for him.
It's beautiful.
And at that time, I had no idea what I was doing for him.
Yeah.
Here I am, just a naive, stupid person having fun with kids on a softball field.
Hardly naive and stupid.
I'm never thinking about the life I was giving that kid to get through something when they were in high school, that as a father now in his late 20s, he's writing to me to thank me. And he wanted to get together for lunch so he could thank me personally to my face. And
Beautiful.
He wanted to take me for lunch.
Beautiful.
So if you want to know why you get into teaching, it's that very moment that I just described to you.
I've had a few of those, Colette. I've had a few of those. I don't know if they're quite as big like that. I mean, that's a great story. That's almost a tear-jerking fucking story, man. And I'll tell you what, it's nice.
It was in July of 2021, and I remember when I got done messaging with this kid back and forth. I remember telling my wife the story. I remember telling my parents the story.
Yeah.
And I was just telling so many people the story because I was so baffled that I didn't even think I was making a difference. In that very moment, that solidified my career, which goes back to, would you do it again? In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what separates the men from the boys and the women from the girls, because you know what? It's not an easy job, but it's super rewarding. It's super rewarding, and I have to give kudos to every teacher out there who actually comes into the building to make sure that they are changing lives and making these kids better people.
And that's something, Jay, that a certification test will never
do. It will never do it. It'll never do it. It'll
and
never
just so
do
you know,
it.
C Sir texted me. I remember when you coached softball.
See, sir, you're not talking at all, bro. What's going on, man? I'm upset. Though. I'm not upset, man. Listen, I'm glad we got this off our chest. Yo, Colette, man, we're running out of time, but let me take this time out to, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I think you just, I think you just bumped my status up to a plateau of, I can only go up more. I can't go back down. I have to keep. I got to get up there. But from the bottom of my heart, Colette, I want you to know, even though it's just a weird thing to hear from another man, but I fucking love you, man. I love you. I think I love that you are always there for everyone. I love you. I love that you have great things to tell people. I love that you said that the best part of your day is the camaraderie, because that's what I really love too. And I think that shines the most with people like you and I and C Sir and Birdman. I mean, I think that's what gets us through the days sometimes. Sometimes I don't think sometimes we may feel like we didn't do the job to the fullest, but I think that the additive to it is that we had a great day because we were in the company of really good people where we all take our job pretty seriously in the end, and don't really worry about these stupid certifications. We go in there with an agenda. We go in to do stuff, and in reality, it's the most rewarding thing. Thanks, C Sir. It is a love fest out here. I don't know what we should do about it, but what's on my mind should not be said on a live. Naughty. But listen, man, we are running out of time. Colette, please get back to your family. Have a great night. Thank you for all of your input. I guess we could chalk this up to certifications are bullshit, right? They really are just bullshit.
I don't think they are an accurate measure of someone's qualifications.
Agreed. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that at some point, you and we might have to picket line ourselves somewhere, grab a couple of sandwiches, and just say, "Listen, knock this shit off, man."
If you're do it, and you know what? We'll bring C Sir. He knows the way to Albany. He's been there before.
I think C Sir might know a perfect spot in the park on a bench that we could sit. But if it's not raining,
on a sunny day this time.
We got to pick a sunny day, that's for sure. It would suck to sit down there. I have some really nice raincoats, but still, I'd rather sit on a nice day.
100%.
Listen, buddy, I love you so much. I'm gonna let you get off here. I'm gonna turn you out to this song. Give me 1 second. Let me do this for you really quick. Hold on. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not going.
Here we go. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, hold on. Damn it. Here we go.
I'd like to just say, with all the accolades you gave me before I even came on the show, I hope this is Tina Turner simply the best. That's all I'm going to say.
You might like this. I'm doing it on YouTube. Here it goes. This goes out to all the big papas out there who know exactly what to say, what to do, and when to do it. Shout out to my man A Collector coming on the show. Thank you so much. I love you, buddy. I love it. Thanks, buddy. I'm gonna let you go and let you all out to this. I give this show extremely highly effective because I think we made a little headway here today. What do you say, Clint?
I agree with you,
bro. All right, brother. I'm gonna see you next time. I'll see you Monday, bro.
Yes, sir. We'll talk.
All right, bud. Thanks, man. All right, everyone. That's our show for today. I hope everyone enjoyed. Let me go back to this little area here where I was not. Thank you for chiming in, everybody. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for episode 9. We'll talk about other topics. I'll see you all soon, guys.